Hello all, how are we? Today we are going to do a show all about the journey through living through the foster care system. Now, we all know my views on that, so I'm just going to try and restrict myself from going all mental about it. But we're here to get a story out there, so we'll see in 30 seconds because we're going to have Tiffany Keenonans, who's a transformational coach and mentor. See you soon. Hello, Tiffany.
Hello, Adam.
How are you?
I am doing wonderful today. How are you?
I'm plodding on. I'm still here. I'm still grateful I'm alive.
Yes.
You have to. Yes. Yeah. So, foster care system. I think before we dive into that, because this is your first time on here, I like to call the guests newbies. Let's throw some quick fire questions at you to lighten the mood. And everyone in the comments, if you've got any questions, share this please, and yeah, go for it. I'm gonna say, do you prefer lemon or lime?
Ooh, lemon.
Lemon. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you was a dog person. Night owl or early bird?
Early bird.
Okay. Tap water or filtered?
Ooh, filtered.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't want to drink the bugs.
Don't get me started on that either. Last one. Your favorite time of the year?
Ooh, spring.
Spring, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, last one I have to ask. Does pepperoni belong on pizzas?
I believe it does. I am a pineapple gal. I know. But yes, for me it does.
Anyway.
For others, they can get their own.
Interesting. Yeah. Hello, Laura. Hope you're well. Right. Before we dive into it, I'm gonna have to ask: do you prefer Tiffany or Tiff?
Either or is fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, who is Tiffany?
Wow. If you would have asked me this a year ago, Tiffany. Well, other than a transformational coach and mentor, she is courageous, and confident, and a badass.
Yeah.
And a victorious warrior.
Ah, okay. Why do you call yourself that? A victorious warrior? Because I've never heard that before.
I have gone through a lot to get here where I'm at today. I have defied odds and statistics, and I have risen above, and I've come out on top, and I've found my strength.
Oh, well, congrats for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so talking about the foster care systems, obviously, before we have to put a disclaimer out there, I believe there are good foster care places out there. Of course they are, but we're going to be talking about your experience, and it's not been that pleasant, has it?
No, sir.
No. Talk to us about it.
Foster
Like
care.
how did you get put in there in the first place? If you want to share that.
Okay. My biological parents decided that drugs and alcohol were their thing. And we were, me, my twin sister, my older sister, we were removed out of their home when I believe we were 1, and then placed in the foster care and almost adoptive home, and then foster homes after that. And they put me in a couple of group homes because they thought I was troubled for being angry and pissed off. But so that's what happened. And then I haven't lived with my parents since I was little.
Okay. Yeah, because when alcohol and drug substances are involved, it's not pleasant. And I know cases from doing my mental health training when there's alcohol and substance involved, you have to question: was there anything else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do you think there was?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't exposed to, uh, I don't remember what I was exposed to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. This is. Yeah. But it's a tough one when it comes to the when social workers and, or as Americans call them, CPS workers, and the police show up your door and the kid is taken away, kicking and screaming because they don't understand, and the trauma that goes through that child's mind. So, as a transformational coach, which obviously we'll get onto transformation a little bit later, but do you remember what sort of mindset you had when you was being taken?
You know, it's a very, my story is a little bit different. So my biological grandmother, she actually knew my almost adoptive parents. And
No.
so when my twin sister and I were born, they had seen us in the hospital. And I guess from what I've been told, throughout our infancy stages, we were in and out of their home prior to being placed in there. So I don't believe we were like taken from with the cops like kicking and screaming. Like we actually apparently we knew them.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Because we had already been there, so it wasn't like a freaky thing for us. Plus, my twin sister and I were babies, and our older sister was like 2.5. So, so we knew them as mom and dad.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if people in the comments have got any questions as well, please put them in, and we'll get them mentioned. I have to ask. Growing up, because obviously it does impact your life, going from one environment to and waking up in another brand new place. Even as a baby, it can be very. Do I say inexperienced? Maybe I don't know. I don't know the word.
It can be traumatic.
Yeah.
It can also be very I can't think of the right word either, but you have to learn to adapt to the environment right away. And put on a different persona so you can fit in the environment.
Yeah.
So lots of, like, I didn't know my identity growing up in foster care.
Yeah. Did it impact your education?
Yes. It did.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So the first 10 years of our life, we homeschooled. So that was, and then we were sent to a private Christian school. And horrible experience. I'm not for private Christian schools ever. So, um, so we homeschooled, but there was abuse that was going on, and anger over not getting like math problems and understanding things. And so um, it developed in me I had to learn how to like escape, if you will, in my mind, so I wouldn't get like beaten or yelled at or made to feel like I'm stupid for not understanding certain things. And then that carried over into my the rest of my school years, because then I was labeled as learning disabled.
Okay.
Yeah, they put labels on me because I didn't understand. But what they didn't understand is that behind the scenes, I was getting beaten for not understanding a math problem. So that trickled over into, oh my gosh, I'm dumb and I'm gonna get, hit and stuff. So it was tough.
Yeah. So you wouldn't say through the education you was masking. You was all up front. These are my wounds, and
Yeah,
you're gonna see them.
yeah. There was I look back now and I see there was a lot of trauma associated. So I had to dissociate and figure out ways to, I guess, acclimate in my environment in schools. But even then, I had some teachers that would speak to us like I would get yelled at, or the teacher would tell the whole class we were stupid and his 7th grade son could get his math, and I yelled at him and I went and tattled on him. So yeah, different things that I experienced.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. We've got a comment. What tools did you use to get through those times?
Hmm. Um, well, they tried therapy, but I didn't get along with the therapists because they wanted me to repeat all of the things that I had been through, and I didn't want to. Like if I brought it up, I didn't want to camp out on it.
Right.
And then I would get angry because they weren't respecting my boundaries. So the tools, I did have some positive social workers, and I did have some positive therapists that did, not make me talk if I didn't want to. And they allowed me to just be.
Mm.
So those are the main tools that I had. I didn't really have any like actual tools that I can think of to
Yeah.
really help me, other than holding on to the hope that I would get through each environment and each circumstance. I think that's what it was mainly.
Okay. I want to talk about your first night in the foster care system. Because was you on your own, or was there other kids around?
So we, first 10 years, we were placed in our almost adoptive home. They did go on to adopt 5 other kids.
Right.
So there were other kids around there. And then we were dropped off at a social services office and then placed in a receiving home. And I don't remember if any other kids were there. But then in other foster homes, other kids were there.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet it's a terrifying experience.
It's very
'Cause-
terrifying.
yeah, because not only was you in a new environment, but would you say you was scared of developing friendships in case, because you don't know whether this person's staying or going?
Oh, yeah.
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 Talk about that.
Well, we had, so I'm going to speak mostly about me because they separated my sisters and I. So we weren't living in the same household, I think around 11.
Okay.
So for me, I had different foster parents but there were some that wanted to stop doing foster care. So these were the good ones that I really liked being at, and then all of a sudden they would just leave. But yeah, I made friends, but it was just not like, I didn't feel like they were really good friends. So I had friends, but yeah, I always had the fear that somebody was going to be leaving. So
It's
always.
yeah, so friends, but keep them at a distance.
Yeah. Yep.
You've got a friendship, but your barriers are there, and you're not telling them everything.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's as well because with my daughter, I have to bring it up. Obviously, she's been abused where she is, and there's been times where the adoption has actually fallen through. That's only ever happened once, almost twice, and she has been in 3, as I know, foster placements. But I've been told I'm selfish, and what damage am me fighting for her is having an impact on her, and that has actually been playing on my mind. So I'm gonna see. The thing is, it's traumatic for me not having her in with us, but it's also probably going to be traumatic for her knowing that Dad's still fighting for her, and if I bring her away from this adoptive home, she's going to go back into foster care again.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't know what tools to do with that one. This is why I've done my mental health training, to try and implement them.
Yeah, but yeah, as biological parents, like if there's like nothing that should keep her like legally away from your home, or even like your circumstances, like it doesn't sound like you're doing things that's going to harm you or her or anything else, and that you're stable and you're mentally sound, you're like the best environment that would be great for her. I think it's good when parents that can, take care of their kids step in and speak up and fight for that, especially since she would be in a better environment. But parents who are not there, I believe, because it happened to me, it confuses the child and it makes them feel more confused and more angry, and they can't voice that. They don't know how to voice it. So it comes out in tantrums and acting out and everything else. And so I don't believe every biological parent should be allowed to see their kids while they're in like foster care or even getting adopted, because it can bring out that other aspect. In your circumstances, I know that the system also, they think they're doing right by the child, but what they don't understand is that in cases like this, where she is getting, there's abuse happening and things that it's not safe, they're not seeing that. And that's the part where it's like, okay, you guys are just letting down the child, and you guys need to really like, get her out of there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got a question for you. When do you feel like there has been a disconnection with your siblings since the separation?
There was at first.
Okay.
But not so much anymore. I talk to my twin sister all the time and my older sister, so yeah, there was a time though, for many years growing up, that my twin sister decided she didn't want to have anything to do with us because we reminded her of all the horrible things that took place. So she cut off contact, and I didn't understand that. So, but over time, we've built up our relationship, and I still sometimes feel like there's a disconnect at times, but it's more so because of where I'm at now and who I am. I feel like she doesn't really know like me. So, but other than that, yeah, there's not so much of a disconnect anymore.
Yeah. Coming out of the placement, what was that like for you?
Well, by the time I was 13, I was placed in an agency that I actually liked because the social workers would buy me food. And so that's what I needed, like, just feed me. So it was, so up until the age of 13, it was traumatic because we were placed in horrible foster homes. We were placed in abusive foster homes and foster parents that didn't know how to handle kids that have gone through severe trauma.
Yeah.
And so by the time I was 13, I had been placed in a home, but then by the age of 14, I decided I was going to go on my own search to find my own foster family.
Yeah.
So I got to sample different ones, and there were some horrible ones, and there was some really good ones, but the really good one that I remember, she decided she didn't want to do foster care, and I was crushed. So I did. Yeah, it just got to the point where I was like, I'm done. I just want to, by the time I was 16, I figured out I could live on my own, pay my own bills, and buy my own groceries.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was laughing because Kerry, who's literally upstairs, tuned in. She went, Adam loves social workers. They don't like him though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got a comment, and it's from Elizabeth Gagnon. She really is good. She's put, as a parent who has gone through this with my own children, sometimes the effects of not fighting for your children causes long trauma effects and relationships with you and your children. I agree with Tiffany, not all parents should. Each situation is different. Once the disconnection happens, it's hard to get through the fear of repeat of being placed again.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. See, I've got a few things keeping me going, keeping me fighting for my daughter, is because obviously the kids me and Kerry have got, they're constantly talking about her. Always. And I've seen the trauma of not having my other daughter here, what it's done to my other kids. And I don't agree with them feeling like that. No way. The other one is, I still remember like it only happened this morning, but it actually happened 5th of March 2016. That is the last time I actually held her. Mm-hmm. And it was in contact session, which was restricted, of course, because they felt like that. And she actually turned to me, pointed to me, and went, Dada. So clearly she knew who I was. Mm-hmm. And she probably still does. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And apparently the adoptive dad is telling her that your biological dad's still fighting for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that can definitely, for some kids, it can give them hope, you know? And when she gets to a certain age, be prepared. She's probably going to, state what she wants.
Hello.
Well, I've had many people telling me she's going to have questions. And of course she's going to have questions. Who doesn't? But I've already got the answers. I already do. So my question to you is, when you was put in the system and coming out, did you have questions? And were you answered?
I had a lot of questions.
Okay.
I still have questions to this day. Some of them were answered, but I did not receive a lot of answers. And in fact, it's funny that you asked that, because I literally just walked through this the other day, and I just came to the conclusion that I am just going to have to be okay with really not getting the answers, because I've noticed if I ask my mom,
Right.
I get responses that are not healthy. And then I have to set boundaries. And then if I were to speak to my almost adoptive family, they're going to tell me things, but then they're probably going to think that we're going to go have coffee and chit chat, which no. I could ask my older sister, but she kind of likes to bring up a lot more information that I'm wanting to know. Like, I only ask certain questions, so just tell me those answers and leave everything else.
You want answers, not lectures.
What was that?
You want answers, not lectures.
Correct. And I don't want to be talked to as though I'm responsible for your responses either.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with what I know.
Okay.
And yeah.
I've now got 2 questions, but I'm going to read Elizabeth's, and I think mine actually tips off hers. She's put, what is one thing that you have learned about your inner self through sharing your story?
I know my identity.
Yes. So what, obviously this isn't the question, but what was your response and reaction to you finding your identity?
Well, one, it was a little shocking. Just to kind of give a backstory. So I was raised with all white parents until I don't think I had one mixed friend growing up, but I don't recall seeing any African American people in my life except for the one mixed friend, and until I was 13. And when I was 13, I moved into my first all Black foster home. So it was a culture shock, because I had no idea that I was biracial, because that wasn't taught back then.
No.
So I didn't know anything. And they used to cut my hair super short because it would grow this way, and they didn't know what to do with it. And so I was just like, and so when I found out like my identity, that process, like really who I am, it was like a seed was planted. Yeah. And it's like, it makes sense as to why I talk this way, why I act this way, why I am this way. And it actually took a coach that I had last year, and she's still in my life coaching, and she's a mentor, who actually looked at me and planted those seeds. And this was last year. So yeah, up until last year, I didn't really know like how I really truly was. Like, I could sense that, but it took somebody to lovingly look me in the eyeballs and say exactly what I needed.
Exactly. So more like a reality check, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. My question, adding on to Elizabeth's, is what have you learnt? Obviously, we know about your identity, you found that, which is amazing, but what have you learnt in the process of being in foster care, going into it, living in it, then coming out? I know, great question.
What? I'm sorry. What have
Yeah,
I?
yeah, of course. What have you learnt, like the process of going into foster care, living in foster care, and then coming out? What have you learnt within yourself?
That I can get through anything. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's it.
Yeah, yeah, because why I asked that is because for years on end, I've been relying on the word hope, and it never got me anywhere. I've now changed that. I've got rid of the word hope, and I've now got the word belief.
Mm,
And I seem to be getting somewhere with that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the communication with the conscious mind.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes. So, you're a mother as well, aren't you?
I am.
Yes. So, talk about that. Would you say, with all your experience and your history of being in the system yourself, did you have any doubts or any little snippets in back of your mind thinking, what am I going to do? Like, because you wasn't brought up properly, so was you like thinking, how am I going to bring these kids up?
Yeah. I look back and I'm like, man, I sometimes wish I could start over because of who I am today. But yeah, there were many moments I doubted myself and thought that I was doing a lousy job. Um, but apparently I did the best that I could. Um, so
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the words what Kerry keeps saying. Because obviously she's said it public, so I don't think she minds me saying this, but she's not been brought up properly by her mum. So, and now she's got a daughter, and I think she keeps saying is she now knows what not to do as a parent. Would you
Yes.
say you're on those kind of tracks?
Yes. I've also learned not to say I will never be like so and so. I won't say that because our subconscious will hear the ending of that and it will say to us, oh, okay, you want to be like so and so. Okay, here you go.
Exactly.
But the cool thing is that knowing what we know, we can choose to do things differently so we can leave a legacy in a different manner and we don't have to repeat that stuff. And if stuff comes up, well, give ourselves a timeout
Exactly. Exactly.
and then go back to it.
Yeah, and as Lizzie says, it's strong and beautiful. Break the cycle.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm a cycle breaker.
Oh, here we all.
Yes.
Well, we choose to.
Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of flack for it, but I'm like, you know what? God did not bring me on this earth to be like anyone else, and I'm that generational curse breaker, cycle breaker, all of it, because I'm like, I don't want none of that stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm going to have to ask this question. When going through the system, what was your mental health like?
wow. Let's just say it was really screwed up.
Yeah,
Like
did it hit rock bottom where you thought, I don't want to be here anymore?
there were times I questioned why I was here. There were
Okay.
times. Like what what's going on, you know? Um, yeah, I mean, I never, to be honest, I never thought that that was the answer, like taking myself off the planet. Other people did, because other people, when I lived in a group home, were very abusive and bullying and tried to take me off the face of the planet. Um, but yeah, No, I can't explain it, but there was always, even though my mind was messed up and my heart and soul was all broken, I still just I found the strength to get through. So, yeah.
Exactly. And we're proud for you for that, because I believe that everyone that's here today, whether people are watching this live or they're on replay, doesn't matter, we still love you, or even people that don't tune in this at all, they all have a purpose in life. And I'm not saying I give advice, because I hate that word, advice. I give guidance. And I always say to myself, I ask myself 2 questions every single day. 1, what is my purpose in life? And 2, what is today going to bring to me? That's what I always do. It's always about that reflective practice where you always, it's like you're drawing a chart where you're always focused on what's going well with you in your life, what's going well but needs a bit of improvement, and then what's your end goal out of all this. Mm-hmm. And that's what people need to implement, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, me doing psychology work. Here we go.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's necessary.
Powerful, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You right, Kerry? Okay. Yeah, so anyhow, last question. If you right now saw yourself going through the system, what's one piece of guidance would you give her?
Learn Kung Fu. No.
Wow! That's me!
Wow. Yeah, I guess, like, you're going to make it. We're going to be okay. Yeah, we come out on top.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Tiffany, thank you for being awesome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
You're most welcome, and thanks to everyone in the comments. We love you all. Please share this also. It is very inspiring. It really is. And don't be a guest. Become a pest here. We'd like to have you back at some point.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Anytime. And yeah, that's all it is. And if you want to give us a review on the Warriors, then that'll be awesome also. Yes, that's how it rolls. So yes, I've got Dale Walsh constantly messaging me, asking me about tomorrow's show, so I'll be dealing with that shortly. So, busy guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I enjoyed being here.
Yeah, most welcome. All right. Well, see you go, and don't go anywhere. We'll talk after.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. See you later, guys.